Welcome to the MarcWes Sports Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the MarcWes Sports Podcast. I'm Marcus Benjamin. He's Wes Pierre, and we give you that real sports talk from a South Florida perspective. I'll bring you the Benjamin Report, and Wes gives you the Westradamus know-how, which, sees into the future type, thing, but we're going to jump right into the topics we got listed. We got the Miami Dolphins. Of course, we're going to talk the Dolphins. We're going to talk Heat. We're going to talk Panthers too, because Panthers going to be in the playoffs. But we're going to start off with the Dolphins, because they were in the news this week because they let go of Bobby McCain. He was a good player. I won't say he's a great player, but he was a good player.
He was a real good player, but think about it, like Marcus, think about it. He was the captain of the team.
Yeah, he was the captain of the team, but there's been times where that defensive backfield was suspect. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times that we just got, especially against the Bills with Stephon Diggs. I just remember him just bombing us all day. But let go of Bobby Kane, the former captain of the team, and we bring in Devin McCourty, former safety from the New England Patriots. So I really kind of like the move because I didn't really understand why, first, why did you get a safety in the draft, which I like the safety. I like the pick. I remember him playing and I remember him being a good primetime player. But I was just like, okay, so what's the real direction? Because you got all of these other guys. So when they let go of Bobby McCain and added Devin McCourty, who is a veteran, he's only got a few years left. My guess is that they got McCourty to kind of, train the young boy to be great. So I love the move. Again, the Dolphins, they've been, as far as the draft is concerned, the so-called experts have been giving them high draft grades. So things are looking good, and their offseason continues to roll on. But what you think of the pickup?
I agree. At first, like I said, I was like, why in the hell are you getting rid of Bobby McCain right now? Wouldn't you, but me and you thought about that, during draft when they wind up getting that safety, of course. I think that they wanted to get that running back, but Denver went ahead and jumped ahead in them and got the running back that we thought they were going to get in. So as far as with the move, like you said, real good player, but is he elite? Is he one of these game changers? Of course, when he was off the field, the Miami Dolphins definitely looked a lot worse in the backfield. They were kind of like the ones getting exposed, I remember Fedulum had wind up going in the game and it was a bomb. But again, it is what it is. They got Devin McCourty. Like you said, he's a veteran. He has that rapport with Brian Flores coming from the evil empire. But at the end of the day, it's someone that you can depend on. It's not starting from scratch with someone you've been working with for years. And he's part of the McCourty twins. I think we got the better twin, but regardless of the fact, I think that he got 1 or 2 years left under his belt, but we signed him to a 1-year deal. So just in case it's not panning out, we can definitely go ahead and move on. Also, he can go ahead and wind up helping our corners, with a little bit of that veteran savvy. Of course, we got that first round pick that we wind up drafting last year, Igben Agnew, and he didn't look as great as we thought he would have been being a first round pick. So, getting someone to go ahead and probably guide them. And again, you have our number 1 and number 2 corners. You got 3 people that can actually help you. So I like the move. Again, we got the ball hawk safety in the draft. I seen nothing but highlights. I heard a little bit about him in college, but the University of Miami tend to not play Oregon. So I really didn't see him too much, but looking at his highlights, he was great. So again, move on from Bobby McCain, wind up picking Devin McCourty. I understand the move money-wise. The Dolphins wind up saving $5.5 million in cap. you know, so we could go ahead and use that money somewhere else where we definitely need to fill in them slots.
Yeah, overall, the Dolphins, I think they're just doing a great job so far. All this is really just kind of hearsay or speculation at this point, because with the
Exactly.
draft and the offseason and free agency, I mean, they're just moves for hopes for the team to do well in the season. So we really won't know how good these moves are until, the season starts. But, some of the offseason moves that we did make, Will Fuller was another one of those playmakers for Tua Tagovailoa. So Tua's got the weapons. He's got Tua now. He's got Jalen Waddle, who we just drafted, Devontae Parker, obviously, and Preston Williams, Gesicki. I mean, the playmakers are there.
You got Hearns, you got Wilson.
Hopefully Allen Hearns and Wilson also come back. The playmakers are there. You got those two young running backs, Myles Gaskin. He had a great season last season. And they did the same thing again this drafting really late with the running back, which I feel a little kind of way about it, because I feel like Myles Gaskin was good, serviceable, and then you had other running backs. It felt like they came off the street, like Ahmed, fill in roles, and running back, they come a dime a dozen. I understand the strategy. You never draft a running back too high, but there were so many great running backs that they could have drafted a little bit higher. So I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get one of those big name, running backs. But, Tua, he's got the weapons now to really make a great run. And Tua also, graduated this weekend, I think, with a communications degree, just like me.
Yeah.
He's a communications alumnus like myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, me and Tua, if things don't work out, or maybe after he retires, maybe me and Tua we'll do a podcast ourselves, do a MarcWes Tua podcast together, something like that.
Definitely. So
but,
yeah,
to see him graduate though.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. As far as first shout out to Tua for going ahead and continuing his education and getting his degree last semester. He finally walked this week, at Alabama. So it kind of give you an idea why when you see Tua speaking, you understand where he's coming from, because he seemed like someone that's polished. He knows what he's saying before he actually say it, and that's the type of people that you actually want leading your team, especially if you're going to be in the media's eye, especially you being a top 5 draft pick. So again, definitely love it, and as far as what you were saying with the running back, being disappointed, I'm going to try to make you be a little bit more happy on the actual move, because think about it, what did the Miami Dolphins went ahead and do? They went ahead and drafted high with an offensive lineman. I think it was lead him Lineberg, something like that. I think he played for Notre Dame. But again, obviously everyone knows if you don't have no O-line, your quarterback don't have no time in the pocket, and definitely your running backs is not going to have no gaps to go ahead and squeeze through in during the game. So just the plain fact that they wind up drafting a offensive lineman so high, knowing that we have all these other needs, I think that they probably looked at it completely different. Now, as far as Ahmed and the other running backs that we do have on the Miami Dolphins, remember, where did Brian Flores come from? He came from the evil empire. Hopefully he didn't bring the cheating over here with him coming to the Miami Dolphins. But, so far he seems like a person that know what he wants. What Bill Belichick used to run at the evil empire, it used to be a plethora of running backs, and one of the things that kind of was a setback for the Dolphins, remember the late games, like our wide receiver, like every last one of them was injured. I wind up seeing people playing that I never even heard of, and we're loyal. We know majority of the people that play for Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, and certain things like that. So seeing certain people playing at that time, knowing that we wanted to make the playoffs, and it's a possibility that losing this game would break that cycle. So I just look at it and I'm like, okay, we got a plethora of running backs, and it's going to be the same thing. As far as with the wide receivers, We do have a whole lot of wide receivers. We have some young guys. We have some older guys. And I just love the whole move. So don't be discouraged, Marcus. I understand. Remember, the first 15 picks, we practically got every last one of them right, and even the pick after, we had to shut it down a little early. It was getting a little too late.
We did get Jalen
You
Phillips.
know what I mean?
I did want to say that. We did get Jalen Phillips like we thought we were going to get. So we got from Miami to Miami. You stay at the crib. So, I hope he's happy about that. He's originally from LA, but the fact that we got that edge rusher that is going to be there for years to come, which we needed, because we talked about this before, like the pass rush wasn't really there. Our linebackers were on point last season, and I would say our corners were for the most part on point. Safety, looks like we addressed that. And now we need these pass rushers to really kind of step up, the ones that we have, and then Jalen Phillips, who was the second pick in that first round when we just cut off the podcast the last time. I love to see the pick. I love the fact that we got the best edge rusher in the draft by all accounts, by everybody's draft board. So the fact that you got the best edge rusher at 18 is great. That's great value for that pick. After that, obviously we got the safety, and then we got the old lineman. So I watched, generally the whole draft. I was a little busy this weekend. I was spending time with wifey for her birthday, but
happy belated.
Every now and again, I was still, checking in on the draft, on my phone, really just to kind of see what Canes were picked and what the Dolphins did. And I really like, overall their draft, and I really feel like they did a great job. And the best is yet to come with the Dolphins. Obviously we home team, so we're going to be a little bit biased naturally. At the same time, we both two smart dudes who look at stuff subjectively, so it's not like, we're only rooting for home team. We're only going to be like, we're not saying the Dolphins going to win the Super Bowl next year.
Oh, no, that's not what we're saying.
We're not saying that.
That would be good, though.
It's a possibility that we could win the division, because, everything is kind of trending in the right direction. If Tua makes that step forward, just like Josh Allen did in year 2, we're good to go, man. So I'm looking forward to the future with the Miami Dolphins.
But, definitely. Yeah. I completely agree with you. Like, like Marcus said, we know what we're talking about. Again, you've seen the last podcast. We had 14 out of 15 right. So, that speak volumes in regards to people that speak in sports. You feel me? And going back to what I was saying, I just love the plain fact that in regards to our general manager and Brian Flores, they kept everything under the wraps. Like everybody in the media was saying one thing and they did the complete opposite. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as us, not the regular media, we were saying what was really going to happen, and it wind up happening the way we said was going to happen compared to these analysts that get paid all this money to speak what they're saying. So I just love the plain fact that they wind up doing their thing. They did what they felt was right. And even, some Dolphin fans, you had some people like disagreeing on certain things. But again, going back to former general managers, there's a lot of them that love our picks. There's a lot of us that said that, the Miami Dolphins came out with at least an A minus. So when you think about that, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Again, everybody get drafted every year, but you never know until they wind up getting on the field. So let's see what the Miami Dolphins do this year. Again, we're a little biased, but I really do think that they're going to go ahead and do their thing. Because again, we got 2 corners that we paid a whole lot of money for, and going back to think about that, one of our corners is disgruntled. Xavier Howard, he is disgruntled about his contract. We'll see how that wind up panning out. But again, right now, we have a first round pick that's sitting on the bench right now, and we have Devin McCourty now on the Miami Dolphins. So if you want to hold out, then probably we don't see that gruesome twosome, that tandem that we have with our number 1 and number 2 corners. We'll just go ahead and see like what happens with the Miami Dolphins. But so far, so good. I'm not going to paint no negative picture. I think we're going to go ahead and be on the projection to do great things in the NFL now.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll transition over to the Miami Heat and the NBA. And the two teams that made the NBA Finals last year, the Los Angeles Lakers and our Miami Heat, are on the fringe of being in that 7 seed, which is the play-in playoffs. I explained this like a couple of podcasts ago that they changed it because of COVID and the shortened season. I got a better understanding now of it, is because what happens is the 7 and the 8 seed play a game, you know, and the winner gets the 7 seed. The loser plays the winner of the 9-10 game. So the teams that are ranked 9 and 10 seeds, the winner of that game plays the loser of the 7-8 game. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that's basically how you get the final 2 seeds. So you get the first one, first game, whoever wins 7 and 8, they get the 7 seed. The loser gets one more chance to make the playoffs, and they play the winner of the 9-10 game, and the winner of that game makes the 8 seed. So obviously it's not a situation that both teams didn't think they was being right now. The Lakers obviously battling injuries. The Heat have been battling injuries from jump. We haven't had a full lineup, hardly ever all season. And we're still waiting for Oladipo to play 2 games in a row. Like we're still waiting for him to come through. But Butler has been out a couple of games recently. Hero has been out a couple of games recently. Kendrick Nunn is back, but he was hurt a few weeks ago. So it's just been an ongoing cycle. Obviously, it's tough on these two teams in particular because they had the shortest time to rest. They had the shortest time to rest, and then they jump right back into a season. So it's going to be hard for them teams to kind of move on. But I'm not worried about the Heat. I really feel like even if they do end up being the 7 seed, which is a possibility because it's only like a 1 game difference pretty much with like 3 teams. It's us, it's Boston, it's Atlanta, the Knicks are in that mix, and Charlotte, I believe, are like the 4 teams. But I don't, even if they make that 7 seed, I feel like they're going to win that game because they dominated Charlotte the last time I seen them play. Boston, they usually play them well, and they got a couple of games back to back coming up. So that'll really kind of tell us if we're gonna make the 7 seed or higher. But I'm not too worried about it. Now, on the other hand, the Lakers, they need to be worried. They need to be worried straight up because last night, I don't know if you saw this, AD, he got hurt again.
Nah.
Yeah. It's not a major injury, but it was back spasms. But back spasms tend to linger. They tend to linger, bro. Like they don't just go away. So, and then he's still, coming back from I think it was an ankle injury. LeBron
ankle or hamstring
back from an ankle injury. So I think the Lakers are in some trouble, which is good for us or anybody else who's not a Laker fan,
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see what happens. But it's very interesting, this new playoff scenario. But the other side of the bracket and on the west side is going to be even more interesting because of the Lakers. The champions might be not even in the playoffs. You feel me?
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, and I'm happy that you explained it for us and our followers. That's watching our podcast because I still was kind of like not understanding it, but now you broke it down. It makes sense. I kind of like it also because you got teams like the Washington Wizards, with Russell Westbrook like doing his thing right now. I think he's a number 10 seed. So just to play that team right now, and
I love Russell Westbrook, by the way.
Me too.
I'm like one of the big Russell Westbrook fans. Even though he's a ball hog and he shoots not that great sometimes, I love his energy. I just love him as a player.
I don't think that he's a ball hog like that. Someone that's averaging like a triple-double the last 2 seasons. How can you call him a ball hog? You feel me? That's what they say in the media. I really don't think so.
Because he doesn't shoot well. That's the reason.
That's the problem. That is the problem. If they say that, cool. You feel me? But don't, these guys can't be saying stuff like that. He's a ball hog. Like, he is not a ball hog. He is a point guard, and the point guard job is to facilitate, and he does that consistently. He plays hard every play. He gives you that passion every day. He's kind of like Giannis. You know, he's like Giannis, not wanting to be with certain people. Like he don't like when we're on the court, we're not friends. This, that, and the other. Like I love that about him, that passion, especially when he dunked. You see his highlights? Oh my God. You feel me? Like, you know, the crazy thing, I heard that he wound up learning how to dunk his senior year of high school. You feel me? It took him that long to figure out how to actually dunk or really dunk, you know? So just the plain fact that you see him now, I kind of have him and Derrick Rose on the same thing, but I like him more than Derrick Rose, even though Derrick Rose can shoot a little bit more consistently than him. I think that he's the better player, but hey,
yeah,
you know,
he's definitely a better player.
You know, some people are gonna say Derrick Rose, but me and Marcus on the MarcWes Sports Podcast, we're gonna say Westbrook is
Westbrook over here.
Yeah, over here. Period. Now, as far as going to the Miami Heat, you know, it's no concern for me. You know, no one ever want to say anything positive about the Miami Heat. Not when LeBron was here, not when we were in the bubble last year. So I definitely know that they're not going to say anything positive about us right now going into the playoffs. You know, that's just point blank period. Remember what I said? They hate us because of our beaches. They hate us because of our weather. You feel me? They are not us, you know, and you definitely hate us because we got the beautiful women over here. Marcus got his wife there. I got my wife over here. And y'all just mad that y'all don't got the women that we got. You feel me? But again, going back to basketball, I don't think that is nothing. You know, of course, Marcus was stating that, you know, the Miami Heat been kind of injury prone lately. You know, everybody been injured. You know, we wasn't able to get that chemistry that we had last year in the bubble because, you know, last year in the bubble, we was seemingly healthy, everyone, besides Leonard, you know, the guy that said his anti-Semitic comment and got left, you know, in the dry. You know, we didn't leave him in the dry like that, but we left him in the dry. You know, we traded him somewhere and noticed that he's not in the league no more. But it is what it is. You know, we wind up being healthy last year. This year, we're not healthy, but I think that's just a little bit of adversity. You know, it gives people time to go ahead and I really don't think they're injured like that. I just think that they're using it time to heal up, you know, time. Because like you said, Marcus, like last year, the Lakers and the Miami Heat was in the playoffs, made it to the finals. So we are the two teams that have less rest. You know what I'm saying? You seen Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, like exhausted, you know, when you know, on one end of the court, you know, gave everything that he gave. You know, and we wind up losing, but it is what it is. We're in the same spot this year. You know, last year I think it was number 6, number 7. You know, in the actual East, and we wind up doing our thing. So I look at it.
5th seed last season.
See, so again, we're the 5th seed last year, and again this year 5th, 6th, it doesn't matter. You're gonna wind up playing the 5th and 6th normally play each other anyway. It doesn't really necessarily matter as far as home field advantage, home court advantage. It doesn't matter also because the fans aren't allowed in the stadium like that to the capacity. So you'll hear people and you won't hear people. It doesn't matter. And personally, I think when people zoned in the game, they're zoned in the game. You know, but again, going back to the Miami Heat, I think that is nothing. I think it's right now. You got certain people that's rehabbing themselves. Jimmy Butler sometimes, Nunn sometimes, Dragic sometimes, and ultimately they know that they're gonna figure it out. We got a team here, so of course when someone goes down, you have someone that steps up to the plate. You know, a few games right now when a lot of our starters was not playing, you know, we wind up still winning that game, you know, with our bench, you know, people, not even our bench, but our bench, you know. So again, it wind up looking good. So I, like Marcus said, we're both not any way concerned because we've been in this position before. Now, as far as with the Lakers, the LA Lakers, the King James, you know, I really think that, you know, you can be a little concerned a little bit. But we always got to understand, any team that LeBron's on, what are you thinking? They're making the finals. Like, regardless of the fact, I could care less about, you know, your record. You know, you got the Phoenix Suns with the #1 record in the West. You know, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You get LeBron James at 80%, and he's better than half these people in the league. He's more dominant than these people in the league. He's smarter than these people in the league. When it comes to AD, it doesn't matter, you know, because, yeah, I understand the back spasms is one thing. You know, that's probably the only thing you really need to be concerned about. But The real concern is y'all really don't have no team. Y'all gave away a lot to get AD. Y'all gave away a lot to get LeBron James. So that team that the Miami Heat have, you don't have that. You need to hope that the team that you have, the bench that you have, does something. But all you need to do is make the playoffs. And even if it's a play-in for the Lakers, you know, I really think that for LeBron, he rather rehab right now and play in the play-in game, one play-in game, and beat the other team, rather than playing the rest of the season and risk injuring himself and, you know, wind up keep that gas full, you know, wind up keeping that gas full, play somebody in the play-in game, and then I'm going to dominate you like I always do. I've been dominating these individuals in the East, in the West for the last close to 20 years, if not 20 years. So why am I going to go ahead and be concerned? You should know that too. He was here in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no concern when you have a team with LeBron James. Maybe if it was AD's team and there was no LeBron James, then I'll be like, okay. But LeBron was on Cleveland. Garbage as Cleveland. Come on. And he made it to the playoffs and he made it to the finals. So this team is better than the Cleveland team. So, you know, I kind of look at it like tit for tat. You know, it's just people just trying to find certain things to say about LeBron James. And also LeBron James himself. He bring it on himself, you know, because he also said that he will never be 100% in his career ever again, the remainder of his career, due to that ankle injury that he sustained. That it was a hit on LeBron and you know, he actually been injured. But I mean, I just think that he's just bringing attention to himself. You know, he's tired of people talking about Katie in Brooklyn. You know, LeBron, he's an attention getter. He's an attention seeker. If the attention is not on him, he's feeling some type of way. And what makes it even better is just like the MJ flu game. You know, it's infamy flu game. So what you gonna say? What we're gonna call the games after LeBron say this? You know, ankle game or whatever like that. Yeah. You know, so I think it's just LeBron James, you know, painting the picture a certain way. So if he does win, they could be like, oh, LeBron James not even 100%, won the NBA championship. You know, that's what I think that he's doing that for, just to get extra praise. So what do you think about that, Marcus?
I think he's just giving excuses. I think he's giving excuses just in case they do lose. You know, just in case they do lose, he's gonna be like, oh well, because I don't know if you saw this, Wes, but because he said whoever thought about this, whoever put together this playoff scenario, this play-in game scenario, should be fired. That's what he said in the press conference. He said it straight up. So he's already giving you excuses if they lose. Oh, it's because of the play-in scenario. If they didn't have that, you know, they would have went far. Or if he would have been 100% like he says he'll never be, then he probably would have made it. I think he, like you said, I agree. He is bringing attention to himself. It's typical LeBron. Look at me, because I'm the face of the league. I'm supposed to be that guy. That's why anytime Steph Curry or Kevin Durant are in the limelight, he hates it. You know, it's like he has to bring attention to himself. So, yeah, I think LeBron and the Lakers are seriously in trouble. Just because of the point that you made as well. This is not exactly the same team from last year, you know, so it's not exactly the same team. You got LeBron with an injury, you got AD with 2 injuries now, and then you got that pressure of possibly winning one game to stay in the playoffs. Because if they fall down to the AC, which is kind of close as far as the games are concerned, it could be just one game, or the 9th seed rather. It could be one game and then you out. You know, like, you know, I think they'll pull it together somehow, because it is LeBron James, it is AD, arguably, you know, 2 players that are top 5 if they're completely healthy. So I think somehow, yeah, they'll pull it together. And then I do think also it is about the maintenance plan. You know, they're taking these games off, trying to save themselves for the playoffs, because to my point earlier, they have had a really short off season, and you do want to rest your starters. And LeBron is typically not that guy. Typically he plays every game, you know, and as many minutes as he can. And he's active too. I mean, he's not as active defensively as he was before. Obviously, that comes with age. But yeah, I think the Lakers are in a little bit of trouble. There is some concern about it because I think he's just making excuses just in case they get eliminated. That's what I feel like he's coming out saying, oh, this playoff scenario is whoever came up with it should be fired. I'm not 100%. Those sound like excuses to me. That sounds like when I play somebody in Madden or something like that. They're like, oh, I hurt my finger or something like that, like, oh, the game is cheating or something like that. Those sound like those type of excuses. And that's typical crybaby LeBron, and I hope he gets eliminated in the first round. That would be, some good stuff.
That would be good. That would be good for us. But that would be bad for the league. I don't think the league gonna even allow that. They're gonna make sure LeBron and the Lakers go in the playoffs. Like whoever team, you remember when last year in the playoffs, they weren't calling fouls for Miami at all. Like AD and LeBron was at the line all night, every game, not just one game, every game. Games, well, it was no home court advantage. They all was in the same actual bubble. But again, you got to understand, like, yo, I definitely felt some type of way about that, but I don't think the league going to go ahead and make LeBron or AD even worry about that. Look at right now. Harden hasn't played in a while. He hasn't played in a few games, I think even with Brooklyn, in that regard, like the big three only played 7 games together, They're not concerned. Everybody's on the resting plan, everybody's on the maintenance plan and taking their time, to be 100% for the playoffs, because we do know that, regular season doesn't mean nothing. That's just for the owners to get money. If you're somebody that's on rings and, Pat Riley, the Miami Heat culture, it's rings or a bust, then you already know where we're coming from. And I understand everybody with the maintenance program right now. Now, as far as LeBron James saying the individuals that wind up coming up with this actual playing game need to be fired, then you need to take a look at your own owner. She was part of the actual committee. You know what I mean? Like Jeannie Buss, she was part of the committee that actually said we should have a play-in game. So you should go walk upstairs or call her on her phone and be like, you need to be fired. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's not happening. The only time that's people going to go ahead and complain if you're a 7 to a 10 seed. 1 seed through the 6th seed is not complaining. So again, I think right now it's just a good thing. I think the NFL did something like that also, put in another game in, for individuals. So, times change. The NFL changed and, stubborn NFL. They don't want to change anything. See, baseball did it. Everybody got to go ahead and go with the flow, roll with the punches. You know what I'm saying? On right now, I'm just trying to see like how COVID is still going to affect everything because, right now they uplifted having to wear masks in Florida. I still wear my mask. I don't risk it. I don't really care. I still don't gather in big gatherings or certain things like that. I still kind of keep to myself. Of course, my wife is pregnant. I'm definitely not trying to bring COVID back home. From what I hear, every female that wind up getting pregnant, that wind up getting COVID, lost a baby. So I am not putting anything in risk. But hey, it is what it is. I think that we're gonna go ahead and figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. And right now, I see us on a projection to do big things. Everything happened for a reason. Now, going back to the state of the Miami Heat. I think the Miami Heat don't need to worry about anything right now. I think right now, when it comes to the playing game, we're tied with Boston. I think they got Boston at number 6. We're number 7, but we're basically tied. So we play them on Sunday and we play them on Tuesday. Hopefully we could go ahead and win these 2 games. And the reason why they're in front of us, because early on in the season, we lost to those teams, because the whole way they actually made the schedule this year, it was like not too much traveling. So if you was in Miami, you played Miami twice. If you were in New York, you played them twice, get it out the way. And then, so basically we played them early twice. We lost twice to them, and you look at them now and they're not the same team, So It is what it is. I don't really think that the Miami Heat, you need to worry about anything. Again, like I said, and like Marcus said previously, it's the maintenance program. I know everybody's kind of a little iffy, a little shaky on, oh, is it a lightning in a bottle? Like Kyle Hurts said earlier this year, you know. But if you're loyal and you know real sports and you know real basketball, football, whatever it is, you know that you got to do certain things to better yourself. And if that means resting players, if that means strategizing, let's lose this game so we could play this team instead of this team, then it is what it is. And I think that's what the Miami Heat are doing right now. I think that's what the Lakers are doing right now. I think that they're picking and choosing the games that they actually win and lose so they can play a particular team. Everyone knows you have a better chance to win against a certain team. You're not going to say it in the media, but again, it comes on positions. It comes on, strategy. Like personally, I think the Miami Heat can beat anyone in the actual East. As far as the 76ers, Embiid, really? Like, come on, man. I am not worried about Embiid, especially since we got Dedmon. Dedmon is like averaging like a double-double every time. Bam, finally got some relief. When he goes on a bench, you don't need to worry about being muscled in the paint, because Olenek wasn't doing it. Olenek was out in the three-point line shooting threes. Yeah, he brought one aspect to the game, but he was definitely not dominant in the paint. We got someone that's dominant in the paint right now. People was like, damn, where you got this guy? I really want to call him the Iron Giant, kind of like like our former player Joel Anthony. He definitely looked like the big the Iron Giant. But again, we got that guy. We got some we got Bar Mitzvah. He does his thing when he get on the court. And we got a plethora of people. Again, mind you, we got Oladipo, and Oladipo is not playing. Now, again, some people may say, oh, he's completely injured, this, that, and the other. He's injury prone. That's the same thing that they said with Embiid. Embiid, when he had hyperextended his knee when he came down, same like Oladipo, and he's a heavier guy. Notice that he's back, and he's in the talks for MVP this year. So, again, I think that it's the same thing over here. The only difference is Oladipo could sit down and chill. Embiid have to play because, Ben Simmons is garbage. He's not a offensive guy. If you keep him out of the paint, you're going to win. Now, again, last year in the bubble, not last year in the bubble, earlier this year, his shot got a little better. I'm not even going to lie to you. His shot got a little better. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. We see, but I really think the Miami Heat so far we're good. What do you think about that? The state of the Miami Heat, where we're at right now?
Well, I think you pretty much kind of covered everything. I feel like you're watching maybe the games a little bit more than I am. I am on the maintenance plan myself right now. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
I'm chilling right now because I know we're gonna be in the playoff. Although I will watch these Boston games because I really feel like they're a formidable opponent to really kind of gauge how we're going to play in the playoffs. Although we're going to be doing, I think, without Oladipo still, but it's still going to be a good gauge. And I think one of those games is on Sunday during the day, so I'll definitely probably watch it.
Of course.
So yeah, I'm not worried about the Heat at all. I think you said it all. But what was in the news this week, also with the Miami Heat, was Bam Adebayo was seen at a Marlins game. Of course, players, they go out, they chill, do whatever, and he was seen with, a few female friends he was there with. One in particular was a little bit on the heavier set side and was kind of like leaned up on his shoulder, like leaned up, like they was a couple, so it for him being an NBA player, I feel, Bam Adebayo could, and he just got a Jordan deal. So, he's getting paid, so not to say that, it's all about looks or anything, because I know there might be some women out there like, oh, she might be a great person. And she better be a great person. Let's just say that. She better be a great person. And she's probably a really good friend, or maybe girlfriend, who knows? But just with the optics, it just didn't look right. It just didn't look like they fit as a couple, if they are a couple. And he was getting bashed on social media about, I guess his selection of what woman he had leaning up on his shoulder, which is fair, unfair, whatever. But you in the limelight, you at a Marlins game, you're in the box, the camera's gonna be on you. Everybody knows who you are. You're tall, you're in Miami, you probably had a mask on at some point, but people know who you are, especially in Miami. People are gonna identify you. So my question to you, Wes, is, if your dog has, brings in like let's say a subpar caliber lady friend. How do you handle that situation at all? Do you say something, or do it's a touchy situation because people like what they like. There's a lot of chubby chasers out there. There's a bunch of them who like a little more cushion for the pushing. There's a bunch of them out there. My cousin, I'm not gonna name him out. I'm not gonna name him and put him out there, but my cousin is definitely one of them. In college, he used to come through with some rather large friends to the room, and I'm just like, wow, really? And one time, like it was like I was like, man, nah, man. One time it was getting out of hand, man. I was like, nah, man, bruh. This one here, she gonna crush you, bruh. And he was like, nah, man. And then he had to think about it. He was like, yeah, she is kind of big, huh? And I was like, bruh, come on, man. You like me, you a small guy, like you gotta be careful. But that's what he likes. And a lot of girls of that stature tend to like guys like us too. So, because two big people usually, they may have some difficulties. They may have some difficulties, So, but anyways, what's your thoughts about Bam Adebayo and him getting caught on camera, and just, if your dog had that situation?
Well, first on Bam, like me personally, I don't think that was a girlfriend. How can that be your girlfriend and you on the Miami Heat? Because how. No, I'm just saying, because my whole thing is the Miami Heat is built on their work ethic. Now if I'm working out, like, what, you think he's just working out when he go to work? Like, no, he's working out. This is a lifestyle. What I have in the refrigerator is a lifestyle. So if we're together, then like, how are you like that? But hey, it is what it is. Not to knock anyone that's a little heavier set. Everyone needs love. Of course, like Marcus said, sometimes some people like a little bit more cushion.
Love too,
yes, like.
You already know where that's from. Big girls need love too, Wes.
I really just think that was a friend that was leaning on him. There's no other way to put it, because I'm like, you just signed all this money with the Miami Heat, then with the Jordan brand, and you choose that person. But again, like some people say, she may be one of those individuals that have that personality that Bam is kind of attracted to. We do know, like, he's African. And Africans, they normally have a little heavier girl. That's the only thing that have me thinking that, oh, that's probably his girl. But again, that was another one that was a little bad one, like right next to him. Right.
I see her.
She had her hair, and I think that if anybody that was up there with Bam that he would probably be talking to is the one that was to his right. In the picture, his left to his right, though. So, hey, it is what it is. If that was my homeboy that came through, like I would have said, like I would have said something there. I would have treated her like same respect I would have treated anyone else. But I would have definitely hollered at him, like pulled him to the side, like, yo. I probably would have texted him. I'd have been like, yo, like, what the F you just came here with? You feel me? Like, that's your dime, that's your girl, You feel me? Let me know. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you gotta put me on point. Because sometimes people just come through with people and they don't say, oh, this is my girl, this is my friend, this is this. They're like, oh, this is such and such, And even if they're together, they probably say this is my friend anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I really don't think that it was him. But again, everybody that was roasting him, like, shame on y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. The world is changing, man. Big girls, small girls, like, everybody needs a little bit of love. Now, again, that is not my preference. If you see my wife, like, she's definitely not like that. Same thing with Marcus. our wives are built a certain way, and it's not built like that. Now, again, I ain't gonna knock it. She may be a good person, great personality, but again, I would have definitely said something to my homeboy on the side, and you with your cousin, like, yo, like, for you to have to say something to him, like, yo, like, come on, man, she's gonna crush you now, like, and he like, man, he think about it like, yeah, she is kind of big, huh? But again, it is what it is. Sometimes guys that are not that confident in themselves, tend to go with whatever. Same thing with women. Because I see some women also like, yo, see, but Bam is not the most attractive person in the world now. Like, now let's not say that he's Denzel or one of these people that people feel like is an attractive person. Like, I'm a guy, so I can't rate him. But like, yo, like, he's not. See, when you have Stephen Curry is gonna make a magazine. You feel me? Like, Bam is not gonna make the cover of a magazine for his nuts. It's gonna be because of basketball. You know what I'm saying? So again, he can't be knocking anybody also. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not that great. Now, I'm loyal to the Heat. You know what I mean? But come on now, Bam. You feel what I mean? Like, you need to save this girl. You know what I mean? You need to not save her like that, but you need to, like, come out and I just say something like, nah, that is not my girl. That's my home girl. Like, y'all need to stop attacking her. Like, we can't just go out and just be friends and this, that, and the other. Say something. Because right now, see, I know they still trolling you in the media. Yeah. So Bam, say something, do something. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, because right now, Bam probably have a lot of other things on his mind. I think we got like 5 or 6 games left, so he probably didn't even see it. But it's kind of hard to not see.
It's kind of hard to miss that because they don't tag him, and he saw it. He saw it for sure, but he doesn't feel like he has to address it, and he doesn't have to. Because that could be his childhood friend, and it's kind of sad though that we even really talk about it. It's funny, obviously, that's why we brought it up, but it's sad at the same time because it's like we have to question it. We have to question it and be like, hold on, man, this can't be right, But that's the society that we live in now. That's the society that we live in. If you're a superstar athlete, which he is, and people expect a certain type of girl to be with you. And when you don't see that, you see somebody, who could be called Bertha, on your side.
Bertha
is like, that's one of those big girl names. I'm not gonna lie, that's one of those big girl names. Apologize to anybody who's fine and your name is Bertha, but I'm pretty sure that's not very common. But yeah, it's just, as a society, we question it. We question, like, because it doesn't match to us. Like, and Wes alluded to our wives, and I feel my wife matches me, and I've seen Wes's wife, and I feel like she matches him. And with Bam and this particular girl, if she is his girl, I don't match, bro. It just doesn't match. It doesn't look like it's the right fit. And it's funny to talk about, but I know it's offensive to some, and big people, it is what it is. Some people are happy being that way. Some people love big women, like Wes said. That's the Nigerian way to go, apparently. I don't know if that's true or not, but it might be. But it's just, the optics just didn't look good for him in that moment. And it's sad for her as well to kind of have to go through that. You have to be judged by your appearance, but that's just the way it is, though. That's the way it is now in society, especially with social media. that unfortunately, if you're a big girl and you is with a superstar, you are going to be ridiculed in some kind of way, and that superstar will be ridiculed as well. But it's just like down here at the crib, right? If you go into a club on South Beach, like, or any, like, maybe in a popular spot in LA or New York or a big place, and you got, there's been times where I go to a club with several girls with me, and if there's one of those girls, right? If there's one of those girls that doesn't look good, or it happens to be a big girl, they're gonna deny all of us, or just say we can all come in, but you can't let her in. That is a real thing that happens. That I'm not making that up. That is a real thing that happens. I had a homegirl the other day tell me that happened to her. She went to a club. She was there with like 4 homegirls. One of them was a big girl, and they could not get into the club together because the girl was a big girl. It's an unfortunate situation, but it is shallow, it's superficial, it's all of those things. But it's reality, it's reality. It's the reality that we live in, and you got to play your part. You gotta look the part. Basically, you have to look the part, and Bam just wasn't looking the part at that Marlins game.
Yeah, and piggybacking off what Marcus is saying, absolutely right in all his points. But look at Khloe Kardashian. She was always considered the heavier Kardashian.
No,
you feel me? And she changed her whole appearance behind all of the ridicule that she was going through all these years. What happened?
Have you seen her lately?
Yes,
I don't even recognize her.
She looked like a complete different person. I really, to be honest with you, like she should have kept a little bit of the weight, a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not saying that she's bad now. She looks amazing now, but she just looks plastic now. When before she looked more natural. It's not like she was fat. She just was a little heavier than her sisters. Her siblings. So she could have lost the weight, but like kept some of it. You feel me? Like. Because right now she looks like Kim Kardashian. Nah, you could have been a thick Kardashian instead of just the one that looks like Kim now. So again, it just shows you, how your words can affect someone in a negative light. You feel me? Now this is a girl that has everything, all the money in the world, and she had to go ahead and switch out and wind up changing her whole appearance for everyone else. So unfortunate, but again, like Marcus said, that's just the reality that we live in. Again, another reality is racism. People will look at me with my dreads and, oh my God, I'll automatically assume I'm a bad guy. In actuality, I'm not. So again, it is what it is. You just got to have a little tough skin in this world if you want to be in this world, and we only have one world. So you definitely got to have that tough skin.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bam, we'll see if he says anything about it. But right now he's keeping quiet, which I think is a smart thing to do. So a team that's not quiet right now is the Florida Panthers. We got to give some love to the Florida Panthers.
Got to.
Because they're officially already in the playoffs. They are likely going to be a 2nd seed. So they have the 2nd best record actually in the entire hockey, in the entire NHL. And they've been playing really great. I've caught some games here and there throughout the season, and they're just relentless, man. They're relentless, a bunch of guys, players like Barkov and Duclair, which I said before, Haitian dude from Canada, is on the team, and they're a dangerous team. But the thing is about hockey playoffs, and I'm not sure if you really watch hockey like that, Wes, anything can happen in the playoffs. That a lot of the times in the playoffs, it's more so than the NBA, because typically in the NBA, the best teams usually make it, or one of the best teams usually is in the finals. That's what usually happens in the NBA. The NHL is different. You can have an 8 seed easily get to the finals. You can have like a 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed, a 7 seed playing a 3 seed, something like that. It's just because it's all about the goalies, man. If a goalie gets hot, if he gets in a zone, he's in a zone, and there's nothing you could do to get a puck past him. So I think Yeah, the Panthers got a couple of goalies that are good. Usually you need two. They got Bobrovsky, who they got from Columbus from back from I think last year or the year before, and they got an up and coming goalie as well as a backup. So I just think they're going to be dangerous. And the great thing about it is that we noticed this up front. You know, we noticed this at the beginning of the season. So if they go on and win the Stanley Cup and add another chip to the city, you know, myself, the Bet Report, and Westradamus, we talked about this way before this actually happened. So we just want to put it out there. The Panthers, we rooting for y'all, and we hope you could bring that Stanley Cup back to the crib. And that one more thing about them is that they got a coach. They got this coach 2 years ago from Chicago who's got that championship.
Blackhawks.
Yeah, the Chicago Blackhawks. They went to the finals. They were like
3-4 years in a row.
Yeah, they were like the San Antonio Spurs of hockey for a while. They were always in it. They won like every other year, something like that. And he came from that pedigree, so he knows how to build a champion. And I think he's made all the difference in the world. Finally, they got a legit coach who really can coach these boys up, because some of these players been on the team for years. But all of a sudden, they really finally, putting it all together, and they're going to be dangerous in these playoffs. But you got to watch every playoff game like it's the finals, because they go at it like it's their last game.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, I agree with everything that Marcus is saying. I'm just kind of mad right now, is because of the whole COVID. I remember early on when we were on our podcast, I was like, like Marcus kind of like, let me know how do the rules go. He was kind of explaining it like more like hockey, no, not hockey, but soccer is kind of similar, so I was like, okay, I don't know the rules for soccer also, that's kind of one of the reasons why I didn't get into it like that, but again, winning early on in the season, like majority of the games, like a lot of them, they were losing, came back later on, late in the game. We also posted, they scored like 3 goals in like a minute or two, like you don't have many teams doing that, that just shows that hunger, because it was always that team, same like the Miami Heat, always almost, you remember, almost making the playoff, almost is like right there, almost. It's kind of like this movie I forgot the name of the movie, but it was basically like a movie where it was back in Aztec times, and they called this guy Almost, because he almost always did this, almost did that. It'll come back to me, during this podcast, but yeah, definitely, you got them. We got a great coach right now, like Marcus stated, came from the Chicago Blackhawks, and I kind of, at the time, I didn't even know, but I always knew that this team always won. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I follow sports, so it's not like they're not talking about the team that's hot, and at that particular time, the Blackhawks always was winning. It's kind of like the Boston, when it comes to baseball, always winning. Same thing like the Yankees, always winning. You're going to always hear about these teams, especially when they're on a playoff run, a championship run, something like that. But hey, kudos to the Panthers. Hopefully, I remember last time we had someone injured. I'm not sure if he came back. I don't remember the name of that actual player from the Panthers that he was injured. But we didn't miss a beat. He's not back.
Yeah, he's not back. Eric Ekblad, he was a defenseman, but he's not back. I think he broke his leg, so I think I don't think he's coming back this season. Maybe late playoffs, maybe, but I doubt he really comes back. But they had a lot of other injuries, and a lot of those guys are back. So besides him, they are now fully healthy. So,
Okay. So yeah, and that's always a plus. You see, they doing it in the NBA right now. The maintenance program to actually get their team ready for the playoffs. So same thing with the Panthers. Right now, if they're 98%, that's a great thing also, because when you got a coach like that coming from Chicago, giving us that extra oomph, then that we're always in the best position to actually succeed. So, hopefully the Panthers do their thing right now. I know their numbers have the number 2 record, but like in their division, in the Central Division, they have them ranked number 3. You know what I'm saying? They got the Hurricanes 1, they got the Lightning number 2, and they also got the Panthers number 3. So
we the Lightning back to back this weekend too, and the Lightning won the championship last season. So they've been playing them tough this season though. So the fact that they played the champions tough makes me believe it that they can win a championship. And that kind of transitions to this next topic we want to talk about, and we'll talk about a little bit of Aaron Rodgers in a minute. But as far as championships concerned, since we're on the topic, there was talk about championships and what is the hardest sports championship to win. And they were saying, trying to compare the NBA to the NFL. And this is a really tough question to me because they're all tough. They're all tough to do. If you ask me, I think boxing and UFC is probably the toughest sport to do individually, just because you have to be in shape, you have to, be strong, you have to be mentally tough, and you have to endure pain at the same time, like all of that. So that's tough. And obviously the NFL is tough because so many different moving parts, there's so many different things that could go wrong. You can have the best team. If your quarterback go down, it's over, or, it's just, there's so many different moving parts with football, just period. And then basketball as well. I anything that's got like a 7-game series though, I think is easier to win than something that is single elimination. So that immediately knocks out basketball, that knocks out baseball, that knocks out hockey. But it doesn't knock out the individual sports with boxing and UFC. So I'm still going to say that football is the hardest thing because there's so many different factors involved for you to win. You could have the best team. There's been a lot of times I felt like the best team didn't win the Super Bowl, just because 1 or 2 plays just didn't go your way. The bounce didn't go your way. A penalty, killed the drive that probably would have, been the game-winning drive. To me, football is the hardest championship to win just because if your kicker is bad, if your kicker is bad, you could lose a game. You could have the best team and then your kicker misses the kick to win the game, you lose the game. There's just so many different factors. So in my opinion, I would say UFC is the toughest championship to win individually, and team sport is football. I'm sorry. It's American football, not soccer. The American football is the toughest championship to win.
Okay. And I agree to a certain extent because I agree with the football 100% because you got all these different pieces. Of course, like Marcus said, you could do everything right and then the kicker misses, especially right now since they actually moved the field goal from directly in front of the field goal to like 35 to the 35 yard line. So it's definitely makes it a little harder for any individual to win sometimes, even though you're playing great. But me, I'm gonna say first and foremost, I really do think the NFL football is the hardest sport. One is because it's more physical. It's more physical, and of course you got the moving parts like Marcus just stated. As far as like boxing and UFC, I know it's fighting. I really do know it's fighting. Boxing, I take them out of the actual conversation because they have gloves on. They have boxing gloves on, which kind of mask the punch. You still gonna find people bleeding, getting hurt. But again, UFC, like they're going with their hands. A lot of them don't wrap up their hands.
You still got the UFC gloves.
It's not the same. Them gloves is like, come on, man. I wore them gloves before. It's not that much padding there. It's like really like, so you won't break your hand.
Right. It's nothing to compare to the boxing.
Because to the boxing.
Got a bunch of tape over that.
Exactly. So me, I really do think, and not just that, but they don't have no tape on their feet. They don't got their tape on their feet. They don't have no tape on their knees. I've been seeing a lot of flying knees You know, remember the guy, you know, he got knocked out in a few seconds. You feel me? Just for the flying knee. So I would have UFC up there, but it's an individual sport. Since it's an individual sport, I know that you can go ahead and focus on yourself. But in football, it has to be a collective. That's why they win. You know, that's why they win this whole conversation because, you know, like, and you notice, like, even with Tom Brady, he have a certain work ethic. Notice that the teams that he be on, everyone has that same work ethic. And if you don't, you're not on the team no more. You know, we really have to be on the same page. Comparing to the NBA, like you could have a garbage team and have one person like LeBron James on your team and you win the finals just because he is dominant like that. You know, so again, I'm going to have to go ahead and agree with Marcus on this one. The NFL is going to have to take this one. I think it's the hardest in the out of all of the leagues to win an actual championship or a title. Hey, it is what it is. I heard you know, one analyst saying that it was basketball. I was like, what are you saying? You know, it's not as physical, especially not the basketball of today. Maybe if you're talking about the basketball when Jordan was playing, when there was really fighting, when there was really actually you know, being physical. You know, right now there's no hand checking, there's no, you know, like they call foul on every play. Like, come on, man. It's not like you, even when it comes to the finals, you know, like last year's finals made me feel some type of way about the league and how watered down they made it. Because when you go to the playoffs, them cheap fouls, they don't call them. They were just calling them all day for the Miami Heat. And I know we're on another topic, but I'm like, yo, you automatically take them out also because the physicality of the NFL supersedes every other sport for me.
Yeah, and it just got harder because they added another game too. Like it, as if it can't even be hard enough for these players. They're gonna play a 17 game season now, so it just gets harder and harder. And then like injuries, man. I don't know if we talked about injuries at all, but like injuries are a factor, especially with that's the reason why they play one game a week. Because imagine playing 2 games a week. Basketball, you play like back to back sometimes,
Yep.
you know, because it's not as physical. You're not bruised up after every game. You know, I mean, I played football when I was a jit, and I used to be like, after a game, like I had bruises all kinds of places. And the next day, I'm like, where the hell this came from? You know, I didn't even, you know, like, and these are professionals. These are huge dudes, some of them. So yeah, it's clearly for me. The only other tournament that is hard though is March Madness because it's single elimination and they're kids. It's hard to manage kids and their kind of mental makeup, and it's single elimination and they have to win 6 games in a tournament. So that's a little bit harder for me. That especially is harder than the NBA or baseball or hockey, where it's a 7-game series. Man, you got to win 4 games to eliminate somebody. There's not as much pressure on each game. Super Bowl in the playoffs in the NFL is 1 game, you know, that's a lot of pressure, you know, so definitely to me that it's the NFL. So we're just going to keep it moving with the NFL.
Yep.
As Aaron Rodgers is in the news this week. Like before, like last month, it was all about Deshaun Watson. Now this month, it's all about Aaron Rodgers. It's like the main NFL topic that people are talking about.
The Tom Brady effect.
Is what?
It's the Tom Brady effect.
Yeah, absolutely. So I seen a stat too the other day that said no Green Bay quarterback has been the quarterback for Green Bay for more than 16 years. Bart Starr back in the day, 16 years. Brett Favre, 16 years. And Aaron Rodgers, he's on his 16th year. So it's kind of weird there, you know. So he still wants out of Green Bay. And there was all these text messages that came out this week. They had leaked to the internet. You know, be careful what you text because even that's not safe. You know, apparently he was comparing the GM of Green Bay to Jerry Krause, who was former GM of the Chicago Bulls. So if you've seen The Last Dance, you've seen The Last Dance, right?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, and they definitely did not have him in a positive light, Jerry Krause.
At all. So you already know what Aaron Rodgers meant by that comment. So I don't see any way that he stays in Green Bay. If he does stay, I feel like he might even sit out, and that'd be the first time for a quarterback to do that. But I feel like Deshaun Watson's probably going to do the same thing this
Yeah,
season.
definitely.
But yeah, just your take on this topic and Aaron Rodgers, and obviously he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time and of this era. And the fact that he wants out, I could see him in a variety of different places come to mind of where he can go. I could see him going to San Francisco still, and even though they got Trey Lance, I understand that. But Trey Lance, I would want him to sit for a year or two,
Learn
and
from him.
behind Aaron Rodgers, that'd be the perfect scenario. Look at Patrick Mahomes, he sat. Look how great he is. Or I could see him in Denver. Denver definitely needs a quarterback. Denver hasn't had a great quarterback there since Peyton Manning, and before that, John Elway. So that would kind of continue in that legacy. I could see that happening. So yeah, I could see him in a different spot. I kind of want to see him in a different spot, to be honest, because he's done so much with less. He's got one good receiver that can't stay healthy, except for last season. Finally, Devontae Adams stayed healthy. He's got good running backs, but not great. Offensive line's been average. Defense has been average. So he won the MVP last year. I don't know how old he is, but I know he's old. And the fact that you won MVP at this level makes me feel like you can still do it. I mean,
Exactly.
look what Tom Brady did last
Exactly.
year. I can see him in a different spot just like Brady did. So we'll see what happens. But what's your take?
Well, my take is the same as yours. I wouldn't mind seeing him anywhere else because it's just like the Lakers. One, I know I'm going back to basketball, but it's like the Lakers. I hate the colors. Green Bay, I hate the colors. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to watch them. Huh?
You don't like that purple and gold?
Oh man, I hate the purple and gold, and I hate the green and yellow. I hate it. The cheese heads. I hate the mascot. I hate everything.
I agree 100%. To me, that's the worst uniforms in football.
The only thing I like about Green Bay is Lambeau Field when it's snowing. You know what I'm saying? That's the only time I like Green Bay. But other than that, they're making it seem like they're the reason why he's winning, when in actuality, he's the reason why they're winning. Without him, there's no Green Bay. You know what I'm saying? And personally, I think he's a better quarterback than Bart Scott, than Brett Favre. So you want to hold him to give him what he wants. Come on, this guy is the MVP. And everybody that criticized him, remember in one of our podcasts, everybody that was criticizing him, saying he's washed up, this, that, and the other, notice how he became the MVP at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? He's younger than Tom Brady, so he's still got some gas in the tank, So you look at this, I definitely do think it's going to be, right now, I think it's not fixable at this point. You feel me? It's just like you're with your significant other and she said your sex game is whack. I don't know how we can stay together. You feel what I'm saying? So again, I look at this situation. I think this situation is Green Bay Packers' fault because you got a franchise quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, probably make our top. We made our list. I think he was somewhere in our top 5, if not top 6. Come on, you want to give him what he wants. When you have a franchise quarterback, a franchise player at that magnitude, and of course we know in the NFL it's hard to find quarterbacks. You got a quarterback that's been healthy majority of his career. I understand right now they was like, okay, the last 2 seasons prior to last season, he played half the games. I think that he played half the games because going back to what I was saying, in the last podcast, if I got a owner, if I have a manager, if I have anyone, a supervisor ahead of me and they giving me lip, they don't really show me that they really care about me, then why am I going to go pick up extra shits for you? Why am I going to put my body on the line, my life on hold for you? So you say you don't want it right now, it just blowed up, but I don't think that it's something that just happened. I think with Aaron Rodgers, and everybody know what Aaron Rodgers, if you come at him wrong, he's done with you. He don't talk to his family, his mom, his dad, his brothers. Yo,
Talk to his family.
he doesn't talk to his family. And some people gonna be like, oh, he don't talk to his family, so it must be him. Sometimes your family be the one that bring you down. Sometimes you have to, sometimes your friends be the one to keep you down. And as soon as you get rid of that negative energy, then you're in a better light. Right now, Aaron Rodgers, I can't say anything more about him. Like, the guy did the fake spike like Dan Marino over here in Miami, and completed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what people need to understand, when you have greatness in front of you, I kind of start realizing that with LeBron. You feel me? I know Marcus was like, damn, like, Wes, I know you're like me. You hate LeBron and you're praising him, but again, sometimes you just got to go ahead and just put your feelings aside and just look at what it is. LeBron is one of the greatest of all time. I'm going to appreciate it, because I don't know if there's going to be another LeBron. There's no Kobe no more. There's no Wade no more, and certain people I like watching. LeBron is a highlight reel, so going to Aaron Rodgers, same thing. You're a highlight reel. He's doing everything with nothing. Marcus just said, you got mediocre running backs. You got one wide receiver that doesn't stay healthy. What happened to the other side of the field? What happened to the O-line? What happened to the D-line? What happened to your DBs? Your defense is mediocre. Since Clay Matthews was gone, you haven't been anything else. Dick LeBeau defense been trash, for the longest. I think they fired him. And all them years, he's been one of these renowned defensive gurus, this, that, and the other. So again, you're not putting him in the best position to succeed. And like I said earlier, it's the Tom Brady effect. Tom Brady wind up going to the team that he wanted, this, that, and the other. But again, I still blame the quarterbacks. All y'all quarterbacks that want to sign these extensions and this, that, and the other, you're not holding your future. You're like there's no way you can go to a great team without losing major assets that attracted you to that team in the first place. So again, like, you think they're just gonna give you away for free? That doesn't happen. If you learn from, again, the guy I don't like talking about, learn from LeBron. You feel me? Sign 2-year contracts, 1-year contracts, put all of that on you. Now, again, quarterbacks can do that. I don't know about everyone else, because, they protect the quarterback. So the likelihood of you getting injured like that is kind of slim compared to a running back or wide receiver or a DB. I don't think y'all want to go ahead and do that. Maybe you guys can sign 3-year contracts with a player option or something like that. But as far as the quarterbacks, if you're great, sign 2-year, 3-year contracts, player option, and put somewhere in there in a contract where you can't franchise tag me. So when I want to leave, I can leave. You know what I'm saying? But signing these 4-year deals, look at Patrick Mahomes, sign a 10-year deal. Like, is Andy Reid going to be coaching for 10 years? I thought that he's old. You know what I'm saying? He may coach half that time. But again, and the salary cap going to continue going up. And then when we get to the 6-year, 7-year, now you're complaining about a contract you signed 10 years ago. Again, you guys need to understand that. Control your destiny, control your future. And if that means signing a shorter contract, then sign the shorter contract. And that's how I feel on that topic.
All right. Yeah, I totally agree 100%. These quarterbacks are using their leverage, and as well as they should, because they're the franchise. There's a reason why they call them the franchise quarterback, because that's what people come to see. People come to see the quarterback. They come see the running back sometimes, and mostly the wide receivers. That the casual fan doesn't know nobody else. The casual fan really just knows the person who has the ball in their hand the most of the time, which is the quarterback, and the person who's scoring a touchdown, which is the receiver or the running back. And those are your most valuable assets. And when they're demanding certain things, and I do want to mention too that Russell Wilson is going to be in the same situation. He's in the same situation, because they did nothing in this draft. I don't know if you saw that, but they had a terrible draft. Because they traded all their picks basically for Jamal, the dude
for the safety.
Yeah, Jamal. I can't think of his name right now, but you know what I'm talking
I
about.
think Adams. Is it
Jamal
Adams?
Adams.
Yeah.
So they didn't have a great draft. They are gonna be on the downturn. That I feel like there's two teams that are that have been perennially great for the past few years that are gonna be on the downturn because they're not building the team around your quarterback. And Seattle is one of them. Obviously, Green Bay is another, but Pittsburgh is the other one. It's like you are not building around this team. Like, what are you doing? Like, first, you had the superstar team. You had these the three-headed monster that everybody wanted in Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and Ben Roethlisberger, who was in his prime. And all of a
Burglar.
sudden, burglar allegedly you know, that wasn't his prime. So it's like I don't get these GMs sometimes because once you have this franchise quarterback, you have to build around him, like what the Dolphins are doing, like what the Chiefs have done. You know, they got the franchise quarterback, they know what they have, and they just keep building around him. They paid a man, and they keep building around him. Seattle, they did pay, they paid Russell Wilson. That's what they did do. I'm not gonna lie.
But
But
when you pay them, what's going to happen? There's not that
right,
much to get.
exactly, because these football teams, they're like corporations, man. There's different departments, and if one of these departments in your corporation is not working well, your whole corporation will suffer, and your whole team will suffer if certain departments, like the offensive line, like the receivers, like the defense, like the even the kicker, if you don't invest or address these situations,
Mhm.
you're not going to get to where you want to go as a corporation, as a football team. And Aaron Rodgers has every right to have the stance that he has. Unfortunately, you have people like Terry Bradshaw that are you know, kind of raining on his parade for his stance. So that's why we're gonna give him the duck of the week of this week. But I'm gonna let you, Wes, really kind of talk about what he said because I wasn't sure exactly what he said. But I know Terry Bradshaw said some things that were not, you know, in favor of Aaron Rodgers really kind of using his leverage as a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, basically, like he's saying what he normally says. He says some dumb shit. He says some stuff like Brett Favre. He basically said exactly what Brett Favre said about Deshaun Watson. That's
Okay.
what he said. Like, you know, basically like stay where you at, you know, like you're causing all this drama for no reason, you know, basically do your job. Do your job and shut the fuck up. Or shut the F up, excuse me. That's what he basically said. You know, he didn't say it exactly like that, but that was his actual stance on that. And going back to these old school people, you
Good
know,
old
like
boys.
that old fogies that got that old mentality still, you know, that still feel like they're young mentally and they're not, you know, certain people like on Bradshaw, like he always say something racist for me, you know. So before, you know, when I was younger, you know, I thought that, you know, I thought that he was one of the greats, you know. I mean, his numbers speak for itself, but again, it's just like a female, or you could be a 10, but what comes out your mouth, your whole demeanor makes you a 3. And that's the same thing I feel with Bradshaw. You know, you could be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but the shit that you say nowadays just kind of made me take a little step back and look at you as a person. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And you always speaking on other people, like look at yourself, like lose some weight. You know what I'm saying? You know, like you barely could close your actual suit every time I see you, you know, and you always saying something stupid. So I just think that it's just the old age, you know, and people when you're old, what they say about old people, they could care less about how you feel. So the
Right.
true colors is coming out, you know, Brett Favre, Bradshaw, all these players now, even when it ultimately come down to it, like, you know, Brett Favre, you know, I really feel like, you know, race plays a factor because when Deshaun Watson actually was on this stance, you know, you had something to say about him. But when Aaron Rodgers, a white quarterback, is saying something, you don't really say nothing negative. You're just asking like, are you gonna play for this team? That's not nothing negative. That's just asking a question. That's not basically saying like, you're a problem, causing a problem, and this, that, and the other. Like, so again, race, again, even though on race is not what we want to talk about on our podcast, we really want to just talk about sports, duck of the week, this, that, and the other. I really do feel like these two individuals, always have something negative to say about, people. Sometimes it be on race, but you're just negative. Like, you had your chance. Brett Favre, you're considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I don't know how, because you have a lot of interceptions. You have just as much interceptions as touchdowns. Bradshaw, on your end, come on, man. Like, people be looking at you, even the guys that's on the actual stage with you sometimes looks at you a certain way out of the comments that you be saying, and I know they're being politically correct because they're on camera, so again, it is what it is. He gets duck of the week. I don't really want to say too much about Bradshaw, but again, typical guy, typical old guy that is stuck in their ways. And when I say stuck in their ways, that's morally, ethically, again, you don't have certain morals. You don't have a certain stance on certain things that I stand on. Now, I understand people have their own opinions on certain things, but it's just like every time it just seems negative from you or racist from you. So again, it is what it is. Duck of the week goes to Terry Bradshaw. And I don't like your name neither, Terry. I never liked that anybody's name was Terry anyway. Same like Hulk Hogan. You see, his name was Terry, and then he came out and said racist things about on black people also. So again,
Terry Kirby. What about Terry Kirby? You remember Terry Kirby, right? He used to be the running back for the Dolphins, man.
He get a pass. He get a pass. He get a pass.
But so big news that also came out this week, and it came out from the crib because we got a big boxing, a fight coming up. The undefeated champion, one of the best fighters of all time, one of my personal favorite boxers of all time, Floyd Mayweather, is coming out of retirement. Why, you say? To fight some YouTuber named Logan Paul, which is a little bit confusing to me because I'm just like, bro, why are you even fighting this dude who only had one official fight that was a draw against another YouTuber? Like, why are you fighting somebody who's not a legit fighter? I understand you retired, but you can still fight somebody who's a legit fighter who's not, the champion, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want to blemish your perfect record. But you're out here fighting Logan Paul. But anyways, Logan Paul is going to fight Floyd Mayweather at Hard Rock Stadium, the stadium that's in my background right now. And down here in the crib. And this fight is June 6th or something like that. But they had some kind of, I guess, press conference. A lot of press, a lot of media guys that I know were at this press conference. And there was a little altercation. You probably seen it on social media because it's all over social media like crazy, where Jake Paul, Logan Paul's little brother, kind of confronts him, talks to him, any kind of way, is like waving his fingers in Floyd Mayweather's face and sees his hat and just grabs his hat and just takes off. I was just like, oh, what the hell is going on? This is like WWF. It's like WWE type stuff, but it was funny and it's entertaining and it creates a buzz. And it's the type of buzz that you don't really see in boxing. I think this year for boxing, it's been kind of a rejuvenation year. It's like a blast from the past when it comes to boxing because you got, seems like real beef. It seems like real beef between two individuals, and the guy who grabbed the hat is not even the guy that's gonna fight. It was his little brother that grabbed the hat. Jake Paul, for those that know, is the fighter that knocked out Nate Robinson and also knocked out Ben Askren recently. Like, knocked both of them out cold. You know what I'm saying? Might have been more interesting to see Jake Paul fight Mayweather than Logan Paul. Logan Paul seems like more of the nicer brother, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, just is a lot of controversy going on with that, and the picture is just going viral. You seen the picture though, right? The picture where Mayweather looks like he hasn't had a haircut in like 2 months. and hasn't shaved in about a year, probably he's still quarantining or something.
That's the worst I've ever seen Mayweather, like, in his looks.
Like, yeah, my dad didn't even recognize. She was like, "That's Mayweather." I was like, "Yeah, that's Mayweather," because he looked like, I don't know, he looked like he's, like trying to struggle for his next meal. He's obviously not, but whatever. Maybe it's a new look, but he looked rough. He just not in a good way. He just looked rough. So, of course, he was highly hot of the situation of Jake Paul taking his hat. He looked mean throughout the rest of the day. And Jake Paul making fun of it, saying he still got his hat, So, I mean, I love it for boxing because it was funny. It's entertaining. But it definitely makes me want to watch this fight now, though. Like, if I was going to miss this fight for whatever reason, I'm definitely making an effort to watch it just because of this little altercation that happened with Hatgate. That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I agree 100%. Like, I know that me and Marcus, we're definitely gonna watch that. We normally catch all the pay-per-views and stuff like that. But like, for me, like, when I seen it, I was like, what? Is he crazy? You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing is, I seen like another like picture of him. Is like he probably got punched because one of his eyes was kind of like roughed up a little bit. He probably got punched by Mayweather or his security team. Because, they don't play about the money team. Now, again, when I seen it, I was like, originally, I was like, yo, like, what the hell is he doing that to Mayweather? You feel me? And it really looked like Mayweather was really upset, I was like, I couldn't really understand what was going on because, like, I haven't seen this, like, in a long time, especially you gonna do that to that guy. It's just like trying to do that to Mike Tyson. Like, what are you doing? You feel me? Are you crazy? Like, we're not in a ring. I could really whoop you without no referee stopping me right now. You know what I'm saying? And my security guards are gonna help too, put a foot on you. So after seeing it, I was like, yo, of course, we had to post that on our MarcWes Sports Podcast. I was like, I thought about it. And I'm like,
on the Instagram,
this gotta be fake. Yeah, on Instagram. I'm like, this gotta be fake. It can't be real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, just the disrespect that you just, it seemed like something that happens in the playground. Like, I took your hat and you run away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just was like, what? Like, you act like, and he said, I took your hat and he ran. It's not like he just took it and ran. I took your hat. I'm like, yo, I started dying. Of course, my friend actually called me about it. He was like, you see what just happened? I'm like, yeah, I seen it. He was like, man, boy, Mayweather about to whoop him. I was like, yeah, I already know. But then we wind up talking about, he was like, you think it was real? And I thought about it. I sat for a second. I'm like, it probably was staged because I'm like, look, this ain't no regular boxing match. It's an exhibition. Marcus did say, about, it doesn't matter if Mayweather win or lose. I know he's going to win, though. We both know he's going to win. But since it's an exhibition, even if he lost, it wouldn't even blemish his 50-0 record. It just would put a damper on his legacy as far as like you just got mocked by a regular YouTuber. Like, yo, that would definitely have you looking crazy. I think even Mayweather image as far as how he was looking, and Marcus said his wife couldn't even recognize him. I was like, what? Yo, I never seen Mayweather look so scruffy. This guy, he always go ahead and floss his money, show his watches, his cars, and he always have a clean tape. People say he's dumb, but he have other businesses where he said he collect $20 million checks every month because he got like 20 properties in high rises in New York. So, business wise, he's there. I'm just saying. So I think this was a business move. Why he even like chose to even fight this YouTuber, because like, look, his brother wound up generating a decent amount of money against Nate Robinson, with his butt standing in the air, knocked out like it's a cartoon. And the other individual from UFC, that he wound up fighting did the same thing. So I really think that it's a money grab right now. It has nothing to do with his legacy. Everybody know he's going to win. There's not even a question about it. But again, to draw people to watch that fight, a fight that Marcus know Mayweather going to win, a fight that Wes and Chris knows that he's going to win, and million of other individuals that know, like you, look, you don't get 50-0 for any guy to just show up and be able to do their thing. Like this guy he's been in the Olympics. He's 50-0. You know, he whooped Pacquiao, someone that everybody said like, oh, it's gonna destroy him. He throws a million punches, and how are you gonna dodge this and how are you gonna dodge that? Like, look, Mayweather is not gonna lose.
He took Canelo out too.
I mean, like everybody that the boxing world loved, he defeated handedly. You know, so again, it is what it is. Even the one in the Olympics where he lost, he won. You know, like, you know, they didn't give him the medal. I'm like, look, and that kind of gave you the new Mayweather that you see now. That fight in the Olympics kind of dictated how he changed his career. Remember, he used to be pretty boy Floyd Mayweather. You feel me? Right. Why pretty boy Floyd? Because you can't touch that pretty face. I'm a little too fast for you. You feel me? But him actually, them cheating him in the Olympics kind of dictated the whole, look, I'm just going to beat you off numbers. And with this guy, I think this is the time you're finally going to see Floyd Mayweather finally knock someone out. I really think that's what's going to happen. Mayweather is going to finally knock out the giant, because like Mayweather is short, you know. He's going to knock out the giant, and everyone hates these YouTubers because of their mouth. So it's like, you know, normally Mayweather is the villain. Right now, he's the hero, you know? So everybody loves rooting for the hero. And I really think that Mayweather's just going to go ahead and do his thing. So, you know, that's my take on that actual fight, on that actual incident that Marcus said happened in our own backyard, you know? So everything happened in Dade, only in Dade. You feel me? Only in Dade.
You know, the vibes got into Jake Paul's spirit, and that's why he did it. He was like, oh, I just got to do it. You know,
you feel me?
Which is funny, which is great. It brings more popularity to him, the boxing. I mean, everybody knows who's Mayweather is. Maybe people are, you know, who don't follow boxing so much are starting to know who Jake Paul is and Logan Paul. Obviously, you know, it's a really cool story. The fact that they are bringing boxing back to the real limelight, to the glory years of like the 90s, you know,
when it was really beefing.
When it was real beef, like Hagler Hearns or you know, Sugar Ray Leonard and I think it was Hearns as well. Actually, he was beefing with, but
Tyson Holyfield,
or Tyson Lennox Lewis. You know, so I love the fact that this happened. It was entertaining. We'll see how long it takes for Mayweather to knock this kid out. Mm-hmm. I doubt he lasts 2 rounds. You know, I like if he makes it past 2 rounds, I feel like that's a win for Logan Paul. Yeah, you know, if he makes it past 2 rounds, you basically won the fight in my eyes. You know, because you know, obviously Mayweather is one of the greatest fighters of all time, and as far as producing talent on the field of all time, it's Dade County, it's Broward County. You know, I had to post on our Instagram page just how many players were drafted just from South Florida. I mean, we beat out like a bunch of states, just Broward and Dade County alone, and just Broward County alone. And then in some cases, American Heritage High School alone was beating out states as far as players drafted from the crib. You know, first we'll just talk about the Hurricanes draft picks and just kind of where they went and where they landed. Because I do want to talk about, you know, the award-winning kicker of the Miami Hurricanes. But first, you know, we already talked about Jalen Phillips going to the Miami Dolphins. We have Greg Rousseau out of Champagnat Hialeah, who was originally from Coconut Creek. He went to the Buffalo Bills, which is interesting because they never really played together, but now they're gonna see each other, see each other in the same division, which is interesting in itself. And then because Rousseau sat out last year and Jalen Phillips transferred last year.
Quick question. You don't think that there's a little animosity with Rousseau with Phillips? Like, Like I was here first and then I got picked second. Like I wanted to be the first DN off the board and then it's you. Like I really think that, yeah, even though we both from the crib, we all representing the U. I would feel some type of way. What you think? You think that Russo probably feels some type of way about Phillips getting picked ahead of him? Because like it's not like Phillips got picked first and then Russo got picked like a pick later. He got picked like on the end, like I think 29th, 30th probably.
Yeah, I think it was the 20, yeah, right, around the 30th pick. But yeah, I would think so because Rousseau was, before the season started, he was going to be the first to be defensive end pick. And then all of a sudden, Jalen Phillips steps into his role or his position. He balls out last year, and all of a sudden, and he had a great pro day. He had a better pro day than Rousseau. I think that's what really put him over the top. Yeah, I would imagine there is animosity. So that's going to be an interesting story from years to come to see who is the better defensive end to come out of the U. Is it going to be Rousseau, or is it going to be Phillips, or is it even going to be Quincy Roche? Quincy Roche did get picked by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
Unfortunately, like I said, I think he's going to be on a team that's going to be on the downturn. Just offensively, their defense is still pretty solid. Once they get all of those players that got hurt last season. So Quincy Roche also got drafted. Am I missing anybody else from the U that got drafted? I don't think so.
Well, he's on a team. He didn't get drafted. Our field goal kicker, he went to the Buccaneers.
Yeah. Jose Borregales, also a guy from the crib, went to Miami Booker T. Washington. Originally went to FIU and then transferred for his final year at the U. Got to be on national TV a lot with the U, and I think that's the reason why he kind of blew up. He was a great kicker at FIU too.
Yeah.
But FIU's games don't really get televised as much as the U does, obviously. So he wasn't the first kicker picked in the draft. And we always kind of talk about overall the media and people in general hating on Miami, the crib, and just everything that Miami has to offer. And this is just another example to me because I don't understand why the player who got the award for the best kicker in college football is not the first kicker picked in the NFL draft. And he goes undrafted. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise for him because he goes undrafted to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he goes to the Super Bowl champion. He doesn't have to go far from home. He's just up there in Tampa. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise for him. God works in mysterious ways, but I still feel like it's a slap in the face for him not being the first kicker drafted in the NFL draft. I just don't really understand it. Clearly to me, it's not like he doesn't have any power on the kickoffs. His kickoffs usually hitting touchbacks every time. And he's accurate and he's clutch too. That's the other thing about kickers. It's not like you're just accurate or you just got power. Can you make a big kick in the big moments? And he was one of those kickers. He did it for FIU, when they needed those kicks, and he did it for the U as well. So it's just disappointing that he didn't get drafted. He didn't hear his name called, and I feel like he's a great kid. I've met him personally. He's come to football hotbed camps. We have specialist camps. I know him and his little brother. And his little brother is obviously at the U now, and he is, looking great too, wearing the same number 30. I'm just disappointed that Jose Borregales did not get drafted, and he should have, straight up,
Exactly.
So I think that those were all the Canes drafted. I can't think of another Hurricane player that was drafted besides Quincy Roche, Phillips Rousseau, and then, Borregales going. But there were a lot of players from the crib, to go in this draft. I'm just going to name just a few of them that I know personally or I've watched very closely. Of course, we already know about Pat Surtain. We talked about him a lot. And then, of course, we just talked about Greg Rousseau. That's a player that I've seen, since high school, since he was over there catching balls as a tight end over there in high school, and then he, is one of the best defensive ends. But Tyson Campbell is another player from American Heritage, like I was saying. And I wrote an article back in the day saying that this high school team probably is going to be considered one of the best of all time. at the time, because I just saw like, damn, you're going to have all these players get drafted. And I already automatically knew Pastor Tam was going to get drafted, and Tyson Campbell was another one. Another player, Marco Wilson. He was a defensive back for Florida. Another great player got drafted from American Heritage. You had Tutu Atwell, who was a quarterback for Miami Northwestern his entire career. Helped Miami Northwestern as a quarterback. He was dynamic as hell as a quarterback. Helped Miami Northwestern win a championship. Ends up going to Louisville, switches to receiver, and is drafted as a wide receiver. He is going to the Rams, so he's going over there. So shout out to Tutu Atwell. He's going to be a part of that. Yeah, he's going to be part of that squad with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp over there. And you add him, and he's just a tough kid. He's a small player, just like a lot of these fast guys are. But he catches balls in small windows and run after the catch. You already know he's from the crib, so you already know he can get loose. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Tutu Atwell for not giving up on his dream too, because he switched. Obviously, he was a quarterback, and then a lot of players, they say, nah, I'm a quarterback and I'm going to stay a quarterback.
Tim Tebow.
You're right. And I respect those players, but sometimes, that quarterback position is really complicated, man. And it's only one position. And it's only one quarterback for every team that really plays. But receiver, there's like 4 or 5 on the field at a time. So you have a better chance to really be on the field as a receiver as opposed to a quarterback. So shout out to him. Oh, Brevin Jordan was the other player. Jordan was the other player that got drafted from the U. Another disappointment too. Like, he got drafted super late. I thought he was going to be the second tight end taken after Kyle Pitts, and he was like the 4th, 5th. I don't remember exactly what he was, but he went to the Texans too, which is kind of a sad situation for him as well, because they are a dysfunctional franchise, and for him to go there, Deshaun Watson's not going to stay there. Who knows what they're going to do? They drafted another team that had a terrible draft. They drafted this quarterback from Stanford that I've seen this guy play, but he wasn't really dynamic. There was other quarterbacks that I think are better than him in college that weren't like the top quarterbacks, or you could have waited next year to get somebody really good as quarterback if you wanted to get a quarterback, which is just a weird pick. Just for Brevin Jordan to go there was an odd pick for me. But back to the crib, guys. You also had Tyson Campbell. He went to Jacksonville, by the way, which it's just interesting team over there. They like the Clemson Jaguars.
Yeah.
They got Trevor Lawrence. They also got Travis Etienne, and then you got Tyson Campbell as a DB, up and coming DB. It's just just an interesting combination of players over there that Urban Meyer has. And then you had Anthony Schwartz, who's the other kid from American Heritage. So you had 4 kids from American Heritage. Anthony Schwartz. The only thing you need to know about him, speed, bro. He's fast. Like, it was always like, to me, like, is this guy more of a track guy or a football player? Like, because he ran track as well. Like, I always thought, like, I'm not sure if he's going to make it, because he seems like he's just a speed guy. But he went to Auburn, balled out, he proved that he wasn't just a speed guy. And he, I forget exactly where he got drafted to, but yeah, Anthony Schwartz is another player that got drafted from the crib. So those are the main guys for me that are going to have an impact, like, immediately next season. Like, you're going to hear Anthony Schwartz's name. You're going to hear Patrick Surtain Jr. You're going to hear Tyson Campbell's name. You're going to hear Tutu Atwell's name. Those are the names you're going to hear, crib guys, and of course Rousseau as well. You're going to hear those names next year, and the crib just continues to produce top level talent, and that just continues. And that's pretty much the Benjamin Report. For this edition of the MarcWes Sports Podcast. If you ain't got nothing else to add, Wes, this is going to conclude the podcast. And, we'll be back